I think the weaponry that the government used against us was, I mean, it was a war. I mean, we knew we were going to get involved with it, and uh, and for them to use such high calibers against us, we felt, those of us who were in there felt, well, this is war, and you know, if they're going to shoot 30 calibers or 50 calibers at us, then that's a consequence of war. We didn't go in there to go to war. We went in there to make a stand. And when the government moved on us with the armored personnel carriers, and actually there was actually a lot more than 17 armored personnel carriers.
Okay.
Even at one time they had 35 armored personnel carriers out there, and the judge, by the way, the judge who handled the case against us said that as long as he was a federal judge, he was never going to allow the government of the United States to enforce the civilian laws of this country. Which what he saw at Wounded Knee was military enforcing civilian laws. And that's where he disagreed with the Justice Department. But the one thing about the government also supplied the goons with a lot of weaponry and a lot of ammunition. So.
Yeah, and I guess the other point too is it just seems maybe you could speak to this in terms of for as many times as you talked about this over the last several decades of your life, and people have asked you about it, because we weren't the only group. I mean, there were other groups at the time who were choosing to arm themselves as a matter of self-defense, the Black Panthers and the Puerto Rican independence movement and so forth. But there always seems to be a hesitancy amongst a lot of folks to sort of see how that's justifiable, like that when you go down that path of taking up arms, that it's going to contribute to your own sort of demise. Not just people who are pacifists, but just people in general, just the general population. So I guess I'm just wondering how you respond to people when they say that they have a problem with your decision to
Bear arms?
To bear arms, yeah.
Well, at the moment we were up against the wall, and it was the government who engaged us in the shooting spree, and we returned fire. I mean, we might have had in the beginning, we might have had like about 15 shotguns and 22s, and that's what we had to respond to the very next morning when the shooting began. So, and I wasn't worried about what the American public would think, and because I knew that we were on the right side of history, and the goons were on the wrong side, the FBI and the marshals, and they were on the wrong side. And I think in early March or middle March, an American poll, a Gallup poll, was taken where 72% of the people who were questioned said they in fact supported what we were doing at Wounded Knee. In the second question, did they support the use of weapons? Was it all right to carry the weapons? But I think that was the question, and the answer was yes. They approved it. So that's another reason why I felt, the government, the American public was on our side, and we used the sentiment of the public, and the government knew it, and it crippled their decisions, crippled their effectiveness out there with the American public saying, no, you're wrong. These guys are the ones that are right. So I was never worried about about how they might all sort out. Did the American people, support us or not? In fact, they did support us.
You mentioned the other night that the kind of support that you got from other people I think, it was mentioned, Marlon Brando and other folks that kind of support. But I also read that at one point, Ralph Abernathy with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference had come, and as well as Angela Davis, other folks like that. I mean, how important was to have other people who were involved in similar struggles in their own communities with the federal government for them to come and offer support or solidarity with what you were doing?
Well,
Did you see that as an important component
yes.
of your?
It was very important when Reverend Ralph Abernathy came there. It was a huge shot in the arm for us, and we knew that Angela Davis was out there trying to get through roadblocks, and we also knew Brando because we were watching him on a screen. Everybody was crowded around the screen. We had to put it up there so they could see it. It was just so, and that was run on portable power. But we heard his speech. We heard him through Sachin Littlefeather. And he refused the Oscar for The Godfather, which is a very powerful film. But he refused it, and and I think but there was other people who supported us many different ways. Tony Bennett. I mean, Tony Bennett was. He still is singing today. I mean, he would do benefit concerts for us. He never backed away from supporting us. He never came out. Excuse me. He never came out with statements of condoning what we were doing. He never did. He was, and we never pushed him to do that because we knew that he was a very popular singer, and a lot of our people liked his songs too. So, no, we never pushed. Brando. We never pushed Tony Bennett, and there was a lot of people. Jack Lemmon was one. For statements of support, but they did support us. They supported us. They'd show up at our rallies, and there would be financial support from them. So, I think the support that we had was already there. All we had to do was show up, and the government didn't have any support. All it had the FBI and the U.S. Marshals, and that's not really good moral support.
No. Once that particular campaign ended, what would you say was the, in terms of what was gained, in terms of what did it do for the Native community and for AIM in particular, in terms of the outcome of that occupation?
Well, I think the stock in AIM shot up high. I mean, we were riding on a crest of very strong popularity by Native people, Native youth, elders, and they supported us. They agreed with us, and they were giving us eagle feathers, to honor us. So I believe that we were on the right path, and even during the trials when they arrested all of us. I mean, I was facing 16 felony counts, 250 years in prison plus a life sentence. And we would often joke, Russell Means and I would often joke about, what are we going to do first, the 250 years or the life sentence? It was absurd. I mean, that was the face of the government's case against us. It was absurd. And the only thing we could do is laugh at it, and which we did. And the jury laughed at it. And the American public laughed at it. And in the end, the judge dismissed all cases against us.